Imagine a 2,000 square kilometer slick of heavy fuel oil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just completely suffocating a pristine coastline, like actively washing up right onto local beaches.
Right. It's a massive environmental crisis.
And now imagine that the specialized salvage crews, the people who are supposed to clean this up, they're just sitting idle. They can't even launch their boats.
Because of the military standoff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they're completely paralyzed by geopolitics. So welcome to today's deep dive where, the physical world is violently pushing back against all our carefully constructed human systems.
Yeah, it really is.
Looking at the Daily Brief for August 14th, 2026, this is from the Daily Tech Reader. It is not just a list of disconnected headlines today. It is honestly an absolute masterclass in global friction.
It really is. It's like a snapshot of a world that is just grinding its gears on multiple fronts all at once. I mean, we are looking at a simultaneous breakdown across environmental, logistical, and, technological layers.
And that is our mission for today. We are going to unpack how three massive, completely interconnected systems are currently being stress tested in real time.
Right. The physical environment, the global supply chain, and the tech sector.
Exactly. The bleeding edge tech sector.
So, okay, let's unpack this. Reading today's news is it's like watching a global stress test of human infrastructure. It's like structural engineers placing heavier and heavier concrete weights onto a suspension bridge, just to see exactly which bolts start popping first.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating here is that the overarching theme across all these sources for you listening today, it's the desperate need for operational control when those bolts inevitably do pop.
Yeah.
Because it is one thing to design a highly optimized just-in-time supply chain for a sunny day.
Right, when everything's perfect.
Exactly. It is entirely another to manage that exact same system when the literal and metaphorical storm hits.
Yeah.
Standard operating procedures just go right out the window, and Hawaii is, they're finding that out the hard way today. Let's start with the most immediate physical disruption on the board, which is Tropical Storm Lala.
Right.
It's currently bearing down on the islands and rapidly strengthening. I mean, we are looking at sustained winds of 60 miles per hour.
And it's projected to potentially reach hurricane strength before it even makes landfall.
Which is wild. If
Yeah.
it stays on this track, this could be Hawaii's first direct tropical cyclone strike since, 2016?
Yeah, 2016. And the meteorological mechanics of this are just severe. A hurricane warning already covers the Big Island, and you have these tropical storm watches and warnings spanning across Maui, Oahu, and Kauai. But if you look closely at the forecasts, it is the water, not just the wind, that presents the real catastrophic threat here.
Right, the rainfall.
Yeah. They're predicting 8 to 12 inches of rain across really broad areas. But because of the localized topography of Hawaii, as the storm hits the mountains, certain spots could see up to 25 inches.
Wait, 25 inches?
Yeah, over 2 feet of water, all combined with a 3-foot storm surge on the south-facing coastlines.
See, that is, 25 inches of rain is incredibly hard to even visualize. We're not just talking about deep puddles in the street.
No, not at all.
It's like pouring an entire swimming pool into a thimble, right?
Yeah.
The infrastructure just has absolutely nowhere to put it.
Exactly.
When you drop 2 feet of water on a volcanic island in a matter of hours, you're dealing with a massive, heavy, moving force of nature.
Mudslides taking out highways.
Yeah. The runoff completely overwhelms local drainage. I'm just trying to wrap my head around how a local municipality even handles that.
It's nearly impossible to plan for perfectly.
Right. And the brief mentions these cascading impacts on health, culture, and work. But I'm struggling with the reality of it. Like, you go to sleep as a barista or an accountant, and you wake up in a survival economy. How does a local infrastructure instantly pivot to managing that kind of chaos?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, hurricane readiness has truly become the ultimate operational control test.
Okay, how so?
The mechanism of a local economy has to fundamentally rewire itself overnight. Like when you sever the physical roadways, emergency medical access is completely interrupted.
Right, ambulances literally cannot cross washed-out bridges.
Exactly. So an entire society is forced into an immediate pivot. You transition instantly from a mindset of economic growth, running your coffee shop, hosting weekend tourism events, to a mindset of sheer physical survival, resource management, and preservation.
Wow.
The government has to instantly mobilize utility crews and emergency responders just to secure clean water, maintain backup battery power, and basically keep the physical supply lines to hospitals open.
It's just the ultimate stress test of a society's fallback procedures. And nature isn't just testing Hawaii right now.
No, not at all.
The brief highlights how environmental stressors are degrading operational capacity across the mainland U.S. too.
Down in Texas, right?
Yeah, down in Texas and the Gulf Coast. We've got Saharan dust that has literally crossed the Atlantic Ocean and is just sitting in the atmosphere, drastically degrading the air quality for vulnerable populations.
It's incredible how far that travels.
It is. And meanwhile, the Midwest and the Ohio Valley are dealing with the exact opposite problem. Heavy rainfall causing severe mold and water contamination issues. They're even tracking a massive multi-state cyclospora outbreak.
Yeah, and that cyclospora outbreak is particularly illustrative of how fragile our systems are right now.
For those who might not know, what exactly is cyclospora?
It's a microscopic parasite. It causes severe intestinal illness. And this specific outbreak is currently linked to a batch of contaminated lettuce that has already hit 15 states.
15 states?
Yeah, think about the logistics of that for a second. A localized heavy rainfall event creates agricultural runoff, right? Which then contaminates a single field of lettuce. But because our modern food supply chain is so highly optimized and rapidly distributed, that localized contamination is instantly packaged, shipped on refrigerated trucks, and spread across 15 states before the health authorities even realize there's an infection vector.
That's terrifying. So Hawaii is a perfect example of what happens when a natural choke point is severed by weather. But right now, we're seeing the exact same systemic failure happening by human design in the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes, the geopolitical choke points.
Exactly. Moving cargo through the Middle East right now requires navigating incredibly fraught waters.
It is a textbook example of geopolitical friction choking global commerce. In the Strait of Hormuz, you essentially have two fundamentally opposed legal and military realities operating at the exact same time.
Right. And just to be clear for you listening, we're just reporting what the brief outlines here.
Exactly. On one side, Washington is asserting an indefinite naval blockade against Iranian ports, utilizing rotating military deployments to enforce it. But conversely, Tehran dictates that commercial vessels must obtain their explicit permission to pass through the strait.
Wow. So it creates an impossible reality for the ship captains caught in the middle.
Completely impossible.
And we're seeing the physical consequences of those conflicting realities today. The UAE reported that 2 vessels owned by ADNOC were actually attacked in the strait.
And for context, ADNOC is the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company.
Right. They are a massive state-owned energy giant. So when their ships are attacked, this instantly elevates from a localized skirmish to a major state-level economic threat.
Absolutely.
And this danger is causing a phenomenon the brief refers to as the ghost fleet, which is just a crazy term.
It sounds like a movie, but it's a very real logistical nightmare. To understand the ghost fleet, you really have to understand how maritime tracking works.
Right, the transponders.
Yeah. Every major commercial ship uses an automatic identification system or an AIS transponder. It broadcasts their location, their speed, their cargo. It's exactly like the transponders airplanes use to show up on an air traffic controller's radar screen.
Okay, makes sense.
But because the strait is so dangerous right now, tanker captains are deliberately flipping those transponders off.
They're just going dark.
Exactly. They are voluntarily dropping off the radar, turning themselves into maritime ghosts to avoid being targeted, which completely obscures the actual volume of regional trade.
Wild.
Yeah. The brief noted only 9 commodity ships officially used the Strait of Hormuz on Thursday. That is noticeably below the August daily average of 12.
I am just stuck on this ghost fleet idea. Like, if you turn on your transponder in one of the narrowest, busiest shipping lanes in the world, you aren't just hiding from a military threat. You're essentially playing a high-speed game of blind man's bluff with massive floating bombs.
It's incredibly dangerous.
It's like driving down a crowded, dark highway with no headlights on. But from an economic standpoint, if all these massive tankers are flying blind and trade volumes are being actively obscured, how on earth do global markets accurately price a barrel of oil today? I mean, it sounds like Wall Street is just guessing?
Well, they're essentially pricing in a massive risk premium,
Okay.
which you can see clearly in the crude oil benchmarks today. Oil prices jumped up over $1, with Brent crude hitting $88.52 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate, or WTI, at $82.40.
And that spread between the two numbers is highly revealing.
Extremely revealing. Brent is the global benchmark. It's heavily reliant on seaborne trade,
Right.
while WTI represents landlocked American oil. So when the gap between them holds or widens, it tells you that the market is calculating the cost of a global maritime transportation network that has essentially become an active battlefield.
Wow. And that battlefield extends well beyond the Strait of Hormuz. We're seeing drone warfare actively targeting energy infrastructure everywhere.
Yes, on multiple fronts.
A Houthi drone reportedly struck Saudi Aramco's Jazan refinery. And then up in the Black Sea, a Ukrainian drone disrupted operations at Russia's Novorossiysk export terminal.
Though it's worth noting, Ukraine did also offer a Black Sea truce amid concerns about stabilizing global food exports.
Right, right. But what all of these drone strikes and naval blockades have in common is that they are actively destroying the physical ecosystem, and the geopolitical paralysis is preventing anyone from cleaning it up.
Exactly.
Which brings us back to that dark image from the very start of our deep dive. There's currently a massive oil slick near Oman from the grounded ship, the Caroline Bazengi, that covers an estimated 2,000 square kilometers.
Just a staggering amount of oil.
And another slick from the damaged Minoan Pioneer is actively washing heavy fuel oil onto the beaches of Quishim Island.
And this is exactly where the mechanics of international relations completely break down. The salvage and cleanup operations for these massive spills are being heavily delayed.
Right. Why can't they just go clean it up?
Because you cannot easily deploy civilian environmental cleanup crews into a contested military zone. They can't get the necessary permits, the insurance, or the physical security guarantees to operate.
So they just sit there.
They just sit there. Geopolitics isn't just about politicians drawing abstract lines on a map, you know? It is quite literally resulting in heavy fuel oil physically suffocating beaches because the bureaucratic mechanisms to deploy a cleanup crew are paralyzed by military standoffs.
The political tension is literally suffocating the physical environment.
Exactly.
And, this geopolitical and physical messiness is directly challenging our digital ambitions, too. The tech world is experiencing a massive reality check today.
Yeah, a huge one.
We are seeing these lofty digital promises finally colliding at high speed with this highly unpredictable physical world we've just been mapping out.
And we can see that collision clearly in the financial markets. Just look at the divergence on Wall Street. The broader S&P 500 hit a record high on Thursday, right? But on Friday, tech shares actually moved lower. Companies like Applied Materials and Cisco posted revenue forecasts that beat Wall Street estimates, and yet their stock prices still fell.
See, here's where it gets really interesting. It's like a high school student who comes home with an A on their final exam, and their parents immediately ground them because it wasn't an A+.
That is a perfect way to describe it.
Right. Wall Street is essentially punishing these tech companies for not completely defying the laws of economics.
Exactly. It's a classic symptom of a market that has priced in perfection. The artificial intelligence infrastructure rally we've seen, it pushed valuations to a point where simply having strong demand is no longer enough.
Right.
The valuations for these AI-adjacent hardware and networking companies assume absolutely exceptional, flawless execution.
In a world that, as we just discussed, is currently full of hurricanes and naval blockades.
Precisely. If they merely do great, the market treats it as a devastating disappointment.
But the underlying build-out is still moving at breakneck speed.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, NVIDIA has a new financing partnership that could mobilize as much as $500 billion for data centers and computing equipment.
$500 billion.
$500 billion. That physically ties AI development deeply to private credit and institutional investors. And Foxconn is reporting that AI servers now make up 51% of its second quarter revenue.
Over half.
Over half. And it's important to remember an AI server isn't just like a basic computer box. It is a massive, heat-generating, incredibly complex node that requires highly specialized cooling and components.
Which is precisely why memory and storage suppliers like SanDisk and Micron are seeing massive gains.
Right?
The physical infrastructure of AI is being built out at an unprecedented scale, and it is just ravenous for raw components.
And this technology isn't just staying in air-conditioned data centers.
No, it's out in the world.
It's being deployed out into the wild.
No.
Pony.ai and Uber are planning to deploy over 2,000 autonomous robotaxis across Europe. Yeah. And Ryanair is bringing in Gemini and DeepMind AI models to handle crew scheduling and operational decisions. But I have to stop here.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at this list of deployments, and I am genuinely concerned about the timeline.
How so?
Are we really prepared to hand over the keys to 2,000 autonomous robotaxis, trusting them to navigate, wet, unpredictable roundabouts in Paris or Rome?
Right.
When on the exact same day, in the exact same brief, hackers are claiming to have breached massive, heavily defended companies like Shell, Philips, GE, and Pfizer.
You're highlighting the exact friction point where the digital dream meets physical danger.
Yeah.
To you listening right now, the critical lesson from today's brief is that as AI physically deploys into the real world, the importance of those operational controls increases exponentially faster than conversational benchmarks suggest.
That makes total sense.
It is one thing for a large language model to write a nice poem or pass a medical exam in a sterile digital environment. It is an entirely different level of risk to trust an autonomous system to drive a 2-ton vehicle through a city, or to secure a global energy company's logistics network against state-sponsored hackers.
And we even see OpenAI actively evaluating whether an upcoming AI model possesses critical offensive cybersecurity capabilities.
Exactly. The threat vector is growing at the exact same pace as the capability.
Wow.
And on the corporate strategy side, we're seeing major players having to actively adapt to this messy geopolitical reality. Like, Microsoft has quietly closed at least 15 Chinese branches and joint ventures over the last 5 years.
Really? 15?
Yeah. They aren't abandoning the Chinese market entirely, but the mechanism of their strategy has changed. They are shifting their focus to helping Chinese companies expand internationally, rather than fighting a brutal ground war for domestic market share inside China.
Interesting.
It's a highly pragmatic adaptation. They are aligning their operational footprint to fit the geopolitical reality rather than forcing a sunny day strategy into a storm. And that really brings the theme of our deep dive full circle.
It does.
Whether you are dealing with a hurricane cutting off medical access in the Pacific, a naval blockade forcing oil tankers to go dark in the Middle East, or the deployment of $1 trillion AI infrastructure, grid-robust security, and clear fallback plans are paramount.
Right. You have to have a plan B.
Exactly. Physical deployments require unambiguous human authority, complete systemic event logging, and the vital ability to safely fail. You cannot rely on a move fast and break things philosophy when the things being broken are municipal power grids, global shipping lanes, or autonomous vehicles navigating a crowded crosswalk.
Yeah, that is a profound shift in how we build our world.
It really is.
We've taken you on quite a journey today. From the devastating physical weight of Pacific storms threatening Hawaii to the dark and dangerous waters of the Strait of Hormuz, all the way to European robotaxis and $500 billion in data center financing. And the common denominator weaving through all of it is a demand for systemic maturity. Our global networks are being forced to move away from a phase of unchecked optimism and frictionless expansion and into a gritty, complex phase that requires intense execution, deep security, and undeniable resilience.
Beautifully said. And before we wrap up, I want to leave you listening with one final thought to chew on.
Oh, lay it on us.
Specifically looking at the mechanics of that tech supply chain. So the brief mentioned that these massive new data centers are now aggressively competing for the exact same memory and storage components used in consumer electronics.
Right.
The silicon fabrication plants can only produce so much at one time.
Yeah.
So this direct competition for physical resources is highly likely to drive up the prices of standard smartphones and laptops for everyone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So as AI scales into this massive physical industry, will the cost of basic communication technology become a luxury? Is the average consumer essentially going to be indirectly taxed through much higher phone prices just to fund the corporate AI revolution?
Man. Now that is a mechanical reality that will definitely stick with you the next time you go to upgrade your device. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming along on this deep dive with us today. Remember that the bridge is always being stress tested and the bolts are always groaning under the weight, but understanding the specific mechanics of where that pressure is coming from is the very first step to navigating the storm. Stay curious, stay safe out there, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.